Hello and welcome to CAD with MP. Today we're going to be making a hinge and I'm going to show you how to assemble that hinge and then create a point in which the hinge spins round an axis. So to quickly mock up a hinge, I'm not going to stress too much about the dimensions today. So I'm going to create a sketch as we usually do, and I'm going to pull a circle using the C tool, C for circle, out 20 millimeters. There we go. So I have created a sketch. I've hit C for circle and I've created a circle of 20 millimeters. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm hitting E for extrude, my good friend E for extrude, and I'm going to pull that up, let's say 150 millimeters. That'll do. Okay. Now I want to create the sort of flappy bits of the hinge. Let's say that this is going to be the basis of our axis, the bit that spins. We need some flappy bits that will stick onto the door that our hinge will help to open. So I'm going to create a sketch up here using this tool, and I'm going to create a sketch on the side plane, this sort of upright plane here. Create that there. Okay. And for this, I'm going to use the 2-point rectangle tool, selecting up here, and I'm going to pull it out, let's say 150 millimeters, like so. Okay, there we go. I've got my cylinder and I've got this square, which will become the flappy bits of the hinge. So I'm going to hit E for extrude. Now I've got a lot of decisions to make now. The direction I want the extrude, I want it to go symmetrically. If I look from the top, I can just pull that out. How far do I want to pull it out? Not 10 millimeters, maybe 3. That seems in proportion. But oh look, it's all gone red. It's because it wants to cut. It wants to cut away at the body that I've already made. So instead of saying cut, I'm going to say I want to join. There we go, I want to join. So now we have a sort of cylinder with what looks a bit like a flag at this stage. We've got a sort of square bit that joins on. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to click OK. Lovely. Well, what comes next? Well, hinges need an axis, so I'm going to create the axis going straight through the middle of this cylinder that this flappy bit is going to spin on. So we need to create the spinny bit. We've got the flappy bit, we need to create the spinny bit. So I'm going to create a sketch on the top here. Create sketch. I'm going to hit C for circle. And I'm going to pull my circle out, let's say 10 millimeters. I want the axis of my hinge to be 10 millimeters in diameter. Now, I believe this is a tool that we haven't explored in the series yet, and it's a very useful tool, especially as we become better at computer-aided design. I'm going to go to Modify, and I'm going to go to Split Body. Remember, if we're not sure what a tool does, we just hover over it, and we can see that Split Body creates new bodies by dividing selected bodies using a profile, face, or plane. Well, how does that work? Well, let's select it. Body to split, it's this one here. Splitting tool, well, we're going to use that circle that we just drew. Extend splitting tool, yes. And look, that is going to cut out a little circle going through the body that we've created earlier. And I'm going to click OK. There we go. So you can see that eventually, once we've done what we need to do with this sort of flappy bit here, this center axis will be what the flappy bit spins around. All will become clear, if not already. Okay, so looking at our body's front on, we now need to create a division between the flappy bit and another flappy bit, because that's how hinges work. They work by rotating around an axis, allowing a door to swing open. So I'm going to create a sketch, as ever, and I'm going to sketch on the center upright plane, like so. And I'm going to select the 2-point rectangle tool. I'm not being super accurate in this demonstration, but you will catch the gist of the tools I'm using and why I'm using them. So I'm going to draw a somewhat accurate square like that. Okay. So I'm happy with that. That looks in proportion. Well, I've got my body and I've got my square. I'm going to go to my good friend, the split body tool. Which body do I want to split? Well, I want to split this one here. And I want to use the splitting tool of that square that I just made. So that's going to cut like so. You might be clicking into place now exactly what I'm doing. But I'm going to click OK. And there we go. All of a sudden, if I hit M for move, and I select this body, and I select rotate, and I select the axis, which could be this one, you can see this is starting to spin on the axis now. Okay, I'm not quite there yet. I'm just demonstrating that it does spin on the axis, but we're going to eventually make that a join so that it can only spin on the axis. The move tool can move bodies around, but I want this to be fixed on the axis. So seeing as this is the hinge, I'm going to make it a little bit more realistic. We would use screws to attach our hinge to a door. So I'm just going to pop some screws on, or some holes for some screws rather. So finding the center point here, and going down here maybe. So I'm just using the line tool there. Now C for circle, and let's say we'll make an 8mm hole there. We're going to use T for trim to get rid of that original line that I used to find out where the center was. Now I'm going to go C for circle again. Maybe I'll pop a little 8mm hole up here. I'm going to draw a line, but a construction line in the middle here. I'm going to use that line later on just to mirror my screw holes. So I'm going to go C for circle again. Maybe I want one here. So I'm going to say, well, let's have it in line actually. So C for circle, let's have it here, 8mm. Now I see that's a construction line, so I'm going to click on the line, change it back to a normal line. I'm going to put another screw hole up here, so I'm going to go C for circle. C for circle. Where can I pop that? Maybe around here. 8mm. Oh well, look, again, it is a construction line, so I'm going to select the line, go over here and deselect construction, so now it's solid. Now here comes the clever bit. I'm going to go to mirror. Remember, if you're not sure what a tool does, go and select, hover over it and it will tell you. So I'm going to select mirror. Well, what do I want to mirror? I want to mirror that one, that one, that one. What do I want to mirror it into? Remember, we drew that line earlier. I want to mirror it into that line there. And select OK. Excellent. So we've got some nice circles. And I can now use my good friend E for extrude. And we're going to use the extrude cut tool. And I'm going to select each of these circles. And we can just extrude cut all the way through. Doesn't really matter too far how far back we go. And select OK. Now another detail we're going to add today is a little chamfer. So this could act as a countersink. When you screw screws into a solid body in real life, you often will find that they'll have a countersink hole so that the screws are flush to the surface, so that they don't kind of stick out. So I'm going to select each edge here. And I'm going to just put a little chamfer on, maybe 3mm. Maybe that's a little large, 2mm. That looks about right, so 2mm. There we go. Okay. I'm really going to show off now, and I'm going to show you a tool that we haven't covered yet, but I'm going to hit A for appearance. Now this is how we can apply colour to our models, and I'm going to type in brass polish perhaps. I've got to download it, put it into my sort of colour palette here, and then I can just drag and drop onto the product here. I'm going to leave my axis as steel so we can see a clear difference between the two. Okay, so we've got some sort of hinge, but it doesn't look too much like a hinge at the moment. So what I'm going to do is go M for move. I'm going to select the inside of our hinge. I'm going to select the axis we're going to rotate it around, and I'm going to pull it out 180 degrees. So it should be pretty flush. There we go. Right, how do we join these together? Well, quite simply, we can go to assembly, and there are a whole new set of tools in assembly, but the one we want to look at today is joint. I want you to explore these in your own time, but for the time being, we'll look at joint. Now, I've gone to use joint, and it's given me a warning. It says no components in the design. And you can't use joint until there are 2 or more components. That's me making a mistake. What have I failed to do? Well, I've failed to create components from these bodies over here. So if we turn the bodies on and off, you can see what they all are. So I'm going to correct my mistake. Mistakes do happen, of course, and I'm going to make components out of all these bodies. So the first one I'm going to make a component from is this one. So I'm going to select the body in the drop down. I'm going to click Control, create component from body. I'm going to triple click on this and say inside of hinge. Put a capital letter there, makes it look neater. Excellent. I am then going to go to body number 3. I'm going to right click, create components from bodies, triple click, outside of hinge. It's good to keep nice and organized here so you know what everything is and does. I'm going to go to the first body, our axis, and I'm going to create a component from that body, triple click, and I'm going to call this axis. Okay, phew, we've got some components now. Perhaps over at the assemble drop down, and we are going to use our good friend the joint tool. Our question box has popped up here. Now, we've got a few options here. What we want to do is select our motion. The type is rigid. We want to make it revolute. Our position, well, we want to select the bit that we want to spin. Now, I want that bit there to spin against this bit here. Like so. In this box here, I can dictate how much I want it to spin. So I want it to spin 180 degrees, and I'm happy with that, so I'll click OK. Now, that has told the 2 parts that they can turn in conjunction with each other. Like so, that one remains rigid, and that one turns.